Welcome to the In Love with PMDD podcast. I am your host, Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist, and I help you stop the monthly PMDD breakups. PMDD is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It is in approximately 1 in 5 women, and it makes you want to break up with your partner approximately 1 to 2 weeks before your period every single month. So as someone who has suffered with PMDD for over 18 years, I dedicated my doctorate practice to helping partners navigate those monthly PMDD breakups with everything from attachment styles, triggers, sensitivity to noise, sensitivity to touch, all of the things that you really struggle with when you're in PMDD. And I also dedicated my dissertation to a phenomenological study of the relationship experiences of partners of individuals who suffer with premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So I'm not just here to help the sufferer, the one who is suffering with PMDD. I am here for the partners as well. So if you need those private sessions, make sure you go to inlovewithpmdd.com and get those tools. So let's get into this week's PMDD trauma transformational tools that is going to help you stop the monthly breakups and stop the suffering and stress in your PMDD relationship. Let's get into it. Today, we are going to be talking about how to negotiate with your PMDD brain. So last week, we were talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and things that your PMDD partner may need, things that you may need, and how to make sure you're both getting your needs met. And we're going to continue with that with the need for safety. So when you're thinking about the need for safety, there is one thing that really stuck out to me that really caused me to think, okay, wait a minute. There's no way that anyone can feel safe in the relationship if you're consistently breaking up with your PMDD partner every single month. And sometimes it is your partner is breaking up with you, you're breaking up with your PMDD partner, and you're going back and forth every single month. And this is really, really, really impacting how safe you feel in your PMDD relationship. And so today I'm going to give you some tools on how to negotiate with your PMDD brain, because I know that is the reason why you are so convinced that you want to break up with your PMDD partner every single month. You come out with this long list of reasons as to why you shouldn't be with your PMDD partner, whether it's things that they actually said, things that they've actually done, and you're using that as proof to convince yourself that you should not be with your PMDD partner. I have been here so many times, and what that looks like is there are actual things that happen in your PMDD relationship, and you use those, so they're facts. So that's why it's so hard to fight past these intrusive thoughts that go on in your PMDD brain, because it's based off of things that actually happened in your PMDD relationship. So a lot of times what comes up for me specifically is me and my PMDD partner are long distance. And so we go back and forth for work. We see each other every single month, but we have days and days and days where we're working in different locations. We're both all over the place. And it is an agreement that we made in our relationship. But every single time I go into PMDD, I begin to think, I don't want us to be long distance. I don't want us to have this arrangement where we're seeing each other this many times a month, or we're going on these trips. And it's very opposite of how I normally feel in my follicular days, because when I came up with this idea, me and my PMDD partner, it works out perfectly. We love to travel. We love to go to new countries, go to new places, experience new things. And we love our jobs, and we love to be able to travel and do our jobs. So this is something that we actually agreed to. But when I get into PMDD, I begin to think, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm in this long distance relationship. This is not working for me. I want to be with my partner every single day. I need to be with them. My needs aren't getting met. What kind of relationship is this? All of these things that are absolutely not true, but I use real facts in order to convince myself that this is not working for me. This arrangement is not working for me. Then I go down the rabbit hole of thinking of all the things that I'm not getting because we are living apart. And I convince myself that I should not be with my PMDD partner. He should be doing more. We're not compatible. All of these things. And this happens every single month. So what I want to let you know is that you can have different things that come up for you. So I know this long distance thing has come up for the past, I would say 7 or 8 months. this has come up as an issue, whereas it didn't before. Before it came up with different things like the snoring, or just sometimes it'll be months and months and months where you're grabbing onto the same issue that you have with your PMDD partner, and it comes up again and again. But every single month it can switch. So it has now switched to, okay, this long distance thing is not working for me. So what I need to do every single month is, number one, recognize that it's coming. Okay. So when I know that I'm going to have the desire to break up with my PMDD partner, it takes the power away. When you're caught off guard, when you're in your follicular days and you're feeling like you want to be with your PMDD partner, you want to be in your PMDD relationship, but deep down, your PMDD brain that comes out every single month has a different plan, has a different idea for your life. And its mission is to cause you to break up with your PMDD partner. And all it has to do is to convince you that it's the right thing to do. Nothing that your partner has done would be enough when you're in your follicular days. Because I know the things that come up for me when I'm in my follicular days and I look at them, things that my partner has said and done, I'm like, oh, that's like no big deal. That wouldn't cause me to want to break up. But when I'm in PMDD, all of a sudden it's like doom and gloom. It's like the worst thing ever. It's like twisting the knife, and they're causing me so much suffering. So your PMDD brain is there to trick you into breaking up with your PMDD partner. That's its mission. So I'm letting the secret out right now, right? I'm letting you know what is going to happen every single month. Your brain, your PMDD brain, is going to convince you that your partner is not the right person for you. It may pick out certain attributes about your partner, certain things that maybe you have a slight issue with, like you think that they can improve on certain things. All of a sudden, your PMDD brain will be like, and that's why you shouldn't be with them. So I'm letting you know this is what is absolutely going to go on. This is what happens with all of us, whether you express it in your relationship or not. So I know for a lot of PMDD partners, sometimes you feel like you want to break up, but you're at that point where you're like, I don't say it out loud. I don't act on it. I don't let my partner know that this is how I'm feeling, but this is absolutely what's going on. I'm feeling like I want to break up, or you're looking at them with disgust and you're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe they said that. I can't believe they did that. I can't believe they're this type of person. Like literally disgusted with your PMDD partner when they haven't really done anything differently. So you might be miserable in this current situation because your PMDD brain might start to convince you that staying with your PMDD partner is dangerous, right? So this is where we get into the point of talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and the needs for safety. So a lot of times you may be at that point in your relationship where you're saying it's not safe to be with my PMDD partner. And if you convince yourself of this, this is really dangerous because you can actually think that you're saving yourself by not being with your PMDD partner. We're going to go down the rabbit hole of calling them a narcissist. You know, I really think that because they said this and because they did this, they're a narcissist, or they're emotionally abusive. They're verbally abusive to me because you're taking words that they said in the heat of the moment. I call them the heat of the moment thoughts, you know, when you're in PMDD rage or you're in an argument and you're taking words that they have said in the heat of the moment when they're at their peak of anger and you're saying, oh my goodness, they're verbally abusive because they said this to me. You're not looking at the context of why they said it, what happened, you know, what they were feeling, what you were saying. All you're looking at is they said these horrible things to me, so they are now dangerous. It is not safe for me to be with my PMDD partner anymore. And when you get to that point, it's really dangerous because you'll begin to feel justified to leave the relationship. You might even convince other people that you shouldn't be with your PMDD partner. Because as I told you before, I have my best friend, Angie, who is always telling me, you know, when I get into those modes of trying to convince her and myself, like, hey, I shouldn't be with my PMDD partner. She's like, no, because this, and she kind of balances it off and kind of tells me all the reasons why I should be with my PMDD partner. And what I want to let you know is when you have that kind of person in your life, you can actually go against them. You can actually feel like, you know, it can cause a rift between you two, because if you're in that mode of negotiating with your PMDD brain and your PMDD brain is clearly telling you it's not safe to be here. It's not safe to be here. You should not be with your PMDD partner. Run for the hills, pack your bags, when you have someone telling you, no, it actually is going to work out, and you're just thinking that because of this, and really rationalizing it with you, you may end up, fighting with them, arguing with them, trying to convince them. And sometimes, you're really convincing. That's what I've noticed when you're in PMDD, you're very convincing. When you are talking about breaking up with your PMDD partner, you have all these stats and facts, and especially when you get to that point where you're on Instagram and you're scrolling and you're looking at memes and quotes and all of these things that are like, walk away from what you don't deserve. You don't deserve to be in a relationship with somebody who does this to you. You deserve someone that is going to give you unconditional love and support. And you're looking at your PMDD partner and be like, that's not you. So you have all of these entities that are working. Your brain, your subconscious mind is pulling in all of this information to go through that original thought of the mission that it has to break up. So now everything that your PMDD partner says and does, your PMDD brain is pulling at that and saying, how can I use this to convince her to break up with her PMDD partner? How can I take this action, as small as it may be, and turn it into a reason as to why she should break up? How can I take this meme? How can I take this quote and tailor it to breaking up with your PMDD partner? And, AI right now and all of these things, I really, really believe that my phone can hear me, because whenever I'm having those moments, when I scroll on Instagram or scroll on Facebook, I'm constantly seeing these quotes that are telling me, you deserve better. Run, get out of there, go be with somebody else, go be alone, go on this journey of self-discovery. Like for me, I always lean into the being alone part, right? Because I have the avoidant attachment when I'm in PMDD. So I don't necessarily think about being with someone else, but I do think about spending time alone, like being a solo traveler. That was one of the things I did for a couple of years. I actually took a couple of years off work and I traveled around the world in between my last PMDD breakup, where it was horrible. It literally broke me. And I talk about it on a couple of episodes back. But after that, I just committed to being alone. And so many times when I get into PMDD, that image comes back to me, like, you were so happy when you were alone, and you could manage things so much better if you didn't have your PMDD partner and the issues that you all have and all of these things. And now I'm negotiating with my PMDD brain, because I'm like, well, you do have a point there. And that's a dangerous place to be, because when you start to lean in to your PMDD brain and your PMDD brain starts to make sense to you, then you're going on the other side, right? So there's your follicular brain, where everything is super clear, where you're super in love, where even if you're not saying that your PMDD partner is perfect, but you're saying they're perfect for you, right? And when I ask my private clients, is this your person? You are always at that point where you're like, yes, this is my person. I can confidently say, at the end of the day, good or bad, this is my person. Well, the PMDD brain is like, this is not your person. This is not your person. And this is why. And then it pulls at all these things. So you're going back and forth. So if you find yourself constantly questioning your PMDD relationship and you're unable to really create any positive thoughts about your PMDD partner, that means your PMDD brain is fighting your best efforts to stay with your PMDD partner. You are now negotiating with a full-on PMDD brain that is literally going against you 24/7. It doesn't take breaks, right? So I want you to imagine having your PMDD brain on your side, where you can get to a point where you'd attack PMDD every single month with positive thoughts about your PMDD partner, instead of trying to find ways to escape your relationship. So when this happens, you won't have to force yourself to do anything related to breaking up with your PMDD partner. Again, everything is just going to flow because you're going to have the tools. So this is part of what I teach you in the PMDD Partners Breakup Proof Academy. And this week, I'm going to be giving you specific tools on how to heal your past trauma so that it can stop coming up when you get into PMDD, when you can stop. What we're going to do is we're really going to work through what you are specifically thinking in your PMDD brain this month about your PMDD partner. What is spinning in your mind? What are you thinking? What is your PMDD brain trying to convince you? And we're going to work through that on your specific relationship. So it is not too late to join. go to my website, www.inlovewithpmdd.com, or go to the link in the show notes and join the PMDD Partners Academy so we can work through what you're specifically going through with your PMDD partner, rewire your PMDD brain so you can stop being in that circle of going again and again and again of breaking up with your PMDD partner, because your PMDD brain is convincing you. Because I know how torturous it can be, because you can get to a point where you're fighting it for a little bit, and then it almost seems like it might be easier if you just lean in and start thinking about breaking up. I've been there so many times where I'm like, you know what, it might just be easier once and for all to just break up, because going through this every single month is exhausting. Trying to negotiate and convince my PMDD brain that I should be with my PMDD partner is exhausting. So go join the academy so we can start working on those tools. But let's get into it right now. So the next thing I want to tell you is your PMDD brain is constantly communicating with you. It is constantly talking to you. And a lot of times you can feel it in your body. I know for me, I get really tense and really stressed out. I start to experience a lot of tension in my traps because I feel like I'm fighting against these thoughts that my PMDD brain is giving me. And it's taking a lot out of me. You can even become queasy in your stomach. You can get headaches, migraines. You can start to have an increased amount of misophonia, which is a sensitivity to noise. It's making everything work harder because you're fighting against it. And it's like your follicular brain, which is over here, which is the residual, what is left over, the little part of your brain that's still kind of there, that's kind of saying like, no, I should be with my PMDD partner. That goes away in PMDD, and now you're fighting your PMDD brain. So when your PMDD brain completely takes over, you're just going against it. You're trying not to break up, because even when you get to those points of saying, okay, well, maybe I should break up with my PMDD partner, sometimes there could be a little glimpse of like, well, maybe we can work out. Like maybe I can try something differently, right? So you're going back and forth, and it's really exhausting. You're beginning to feel it in your body. So I want you to pay attention when you notice that your PMDD brain is taking over. Pay attention to what that looks like, what that feels like in your body. If you go on my Instagram, I actually had Amy Sargent, which is a holistic trauma coach, on my first Instagram live ever. I never go live. But I'm starting to go Mondays. Every single Monday, if you go to my Instagram, I go live on Mondays at, I believe it's 5 p.m. Yes, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here in the US. And you can always go in there and catch the replay. But she is really big on the holistic approach with PMDD. And she does yoga and breath work. And some of the things that we were talking about is PMDD rage and really feeling it in your body. So if you haven't gone to look at that live, we put some tools out there. So make sure you go check that out. But I want you to pay attention to what it feels like in your body, because then when it happens again, you can say, I know what's going on. I'm fighting my PMDD brain, right? As soon as I start feeling tension in my traps or my body gets really tight, and I know that I'm having like these issues internally with my PMDD relationship, I automatically say, yep, I'm fighting my PMDD brain right now. I'm fighting to convince myself to not break up. So pay attention to what that looks like in your body. So the next thing I want you to do is use the power of the pen. So I know that you're not all into journaling. I do it at various times because I want to track how PMDD is working, like on what days. I get really intricate with it. Like on what days do I normally break up with my PMDD partner in my mind, break up in my mind, right? Mentally, what days do I normally get to that point? And I notice for me, it's coming at like halftime, like day 7. I'm starting to convince myself, because I start off like a little bit secure, like, the first couple of days of PMDD, you're still kind of like, hey, I still kind of like my PMDD partner. And then by day 3 or 4, like it's trickling down less and less and less. It's like your battery percentage on your phone is going down. So by day 7, I absolutely positively want to break up. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So when I say use the power of the pen, Writing can be a really effective way to get a clearer message from your PMDD brain. I want you to write down, what is your PMDD brain trying to tell you? What are you hearing? What are you listening? What is really convincing to you? So suppose you want to know, what are the reasons that you think that you should break up with your PMDD partner, right? I want you to write down those reasons. It's as silly as it may seem, I want you to write it down. Write down what that looks like. And you're going to begin to see a pattern. So it is so much power in writing it down, because you can look at that list. And I want you to specifically look at that list when you get into your follicular days too, because you can look at it and be like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I thought that, or I can't believe I believe that about my PMDD partner, because you're going to begin to see how ridiculous it sounds or it looks, or how you're taking their actions and turning them into something evil, which is something that the PMDD brain has a lot of emphasis on, meaning it, like I told you before, when my PMDD partner snores, my PMDD brain will use that and say your partner is specifically not trying to allow you to get sleep, and like it's maliciously doing it, right? And that means you're not on the same team. You're making him the enemy with your PMDD, because your PMDD brain is going against you. And so all of this is really, really, really helping you to not feel safe with your PMDD relationship. And this is the next, on the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, this is the next thing after your physiological needs, the need for safety. So when you're going month after month after month and you're getting into those PMDD breakups, you're no longer feeling safe. So I want you to write that down, because when you're going to be able to look at it, you're going to say, okay, I want you to question every single thing. So I do this with my private clients. We write it down on one side of the paper. And then on the other side, I want you to begin to question it. So if I did it, right, and I said, okay, me and my PMDD partner should not be together because we're long distance, then I can say, yeah, because long distance relationships don't work. And I can go and research and get the stats on why long distance relationships are bad for you, right? So that's what I want you to know. Your PMDD brain will have you researching whatever it is that is worst case scenario. So there are so many articles that talk about the benefits of long distance relationship, but there also are so many articles that are talking about the negative. Your PMDD brain will have you searching for the negative. I want you to catch yourself when you're doing this. When you find yourself searching for the negative, I want you to recognize, this is my PMDD brain. This is not me. This is my PMDD brain that is literally searching for why I should not be with my PMDD partner. So on one side of the paper, you're writing down just your raw thoughts. I shouldn't be with my PMDD partner because of this. You can start it like that, like use that journal prompt. I shouldn't be with my PMDD partner because of this. And then I want you to list it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember 1 month I told you I had like 22 reasons that I wanted to break up? On the right side of the paper, I want you to start challenging them, asking yourself, is this really true? I want you to keep circling things. Circle those keywords that you're seeing, right? Those keywords that you're seeing when you're writing out all the reasons why you shouldn't be with them. Question if your PMDD partner really has those kind of qualities. So if you're talking about, oh, my PMDD partner is selfish, circle that word, selfish, and then ask yourself, is my PMDD partner really selfish? Would I really be with this person if they were selfish? Would I really be with them if they're not safe? Would I really be with them if they didn't care about me? Like, ask yourself that question, because it stops your PMDD brain from going into autopilot of spitting out all of those negative things. When you start to add the positive in there, you're rewiring your PMDD brain, and it kind of stops it. And it's kind of like, whoa, like I wasn't expecting that. But if you don't do this rewiring of your PMDD brain, it's just going to keep going into that direction. So the next PMDD trauma transformational tool that I have for you is to talk back to your PMDD brain. Talk back. I want you to stop listening to everything that your PMDD brain is telling you as facts. You're just like, oh yeah, I shouldn't be with them. That is your PMDD brain. Think about what PMDD does to your body. Think about how evil it is, right? I want you to recognize PMDD is not your friend. It's not your friend. It's not like trying to keep you safe for a good reason. Everything that PMDD does in the body, it also does in the mind, the PMDD brain. And this is what we're fighting against. You cannot trust your PMDD brain because it is evil. And it is there to cause you suffering, just like the physical symptoms, the anxiety, the depression, the fatigue. This is an evil disorder. I want you to remember this. PMDD is evil. So therefore, if PMDD is evil, your PMDD brain is evil, and it is a liar. You can't trust it. It is an evil, evil, evil disorder. And I don't know how else to say it. It's just evil. So whenever your PMDD brain is trying to convince you to do something, do not trust it. Do not trust it. Talk back. So your mind must be at a point where you are ready to do this. So I want you to start speaking to your PMDD brain like you're talking to an actual person, right? So speak to your PMDD brain like you're talking to it, like you're trying to make peace with it, right? Like you're talking to it like a friend. Like, have you ever had an argument with your friend, but you really know that you're trying to like be friends with them again, or had an argument with your PMDD partner and you know that you're trying to be back connected again? Like, I know I've been that way so many times where I've been fighting for days and days and days with my PMDD partner. And then I'm kind of like, enough is enough. Like, I really don't want to be in this place of not being on the same page with my PMDD partner. I don't want to be in that spot. I really just want us to be back loving again. I kind of get to the point where I'm missing my PMDD partner. This happened actually this month where we had a couple of days where we were talking about really serious issues. It was going back and forth. We weren't seeing each other's point of view on a lot of issues. And so we kind of got a little bit distant. We kind of was like, okay, we went into autopilot with our day-to-day communication. And I got to the point where I really was like, well, I miss being loving. I miss being connected with my PMDD partner. So I had to start to ask my PMDD partner, like, why is this disagreement preventing us from being connected? Or what are we accomplishing, or what are we trying to accomplish by staying disconnected, by not talking to each other, by not addressing the issue? Like, what is really going on? And when I had that bottom line conversation, I could write it down and say, listen, what is really going on? So this is what I mean by talking to your PMDD brain about the breakup. So instead of trying to fight against breaking up with your PMDD partner, just have a conversation with your PMDD brain. And it's like, what are you really trying to accomplish here? So you're trying to accomplish me breaking up with my PMDD partner. And then what? What is that going to look like? I'm going to be single. Eventually, I'm going to want to be with my PMDD partner again. I'm going to miss them. And then what's that going to look like for me? What is it going to look like for me when my PMDD partner finds somebody else? They get into another relationship. I have to see them happy with somebody else. How is that going to make me feel? How is that going to make me feel when I get into my follicular days, my good days, and I'm leaning in and I'm wanting to be loving towards my PMDD partner, but I've already broken up with them and they're gone. And so I try to convince myself initially that I made the right decision. Like, yeah, because you can always find stuff to justify breaking up, right? So you can say, yeah, I'm happier because of this, this, and this. Yeah, there's a couple things you can do when you're single or you're dating someone else, but there's also things that you cannot get because you're not going to be with your PMDD partner. So when you're talking to your PMDD brain, you're really negotiating with it. And you're like, how is this going to work out for me, right? Like, how is this really going to look for me? Is what you're requiring me to do, what you're trying to convince me to do, is it going to cause me suffering? Because your PMDD brain is only going to present the bright side of breaking up. It's only going to present the good parts about breaking up to you and how much more peace you're going to have. And it's not talking about how your children are going to be affected by the breakup. It's not talking about how your finances are going to be affected. You may have to move. You may have to, put your kids in a different school. You may have to stop thinking about having kids right now because you won't have a partner. Like, there's so many things that can happen when you go into these PMDD breakups, and I'm being really general, but when I have my private sessions with my private clients, I really go into what does that genuinely look like? Because sometimes when we talk about breaking up, we're like, yeah, I could break up. It's like, yeah, but what does that look like? Honestly. So I want you to just talk, just have some time. I know I do it when I'm on my walk. It's one of the many things I do when I go on my morning walks, when I'm walking my my little dog Leo, who's laying right here, is I talk to my PMDD brain, and I'm like, let's hash this out, because what you don't want to do is to have this conversation with your PMDD partner. I've made this mistake so many times, and it has not gone well. I'm here to tell you that the things that go on in your PMDD brain are very offensive to your PMDD partner. They're very offensive. They're very hurtful. They're not going to understand how you can literally think that you do not want to be with them anymore. The things that go on in your PMDD brain, which is evil, will genuinely hurt your PMDD partner. They will not feel safe anymore. They will not feel safe in the relationship because you literally told them, I don't want to be with you. I think you're a horrible person. I think you're dangerous to me. I think you're abusive to me. I think, like, if you tell your partner that and then you go into your follicular days and you want to go back to being loving and you're like, let's just be happy together. They're still thinking about the fact that you called them abusive, that you called them dangerous, that you called them not safe, that you called them toxic, that you called them a narcissist, and let me tell you, when you get... I almost think that that's like a way of indicating that your PMDD brain is like on full effect. When you go into narcissist mode, meaning you're calling your PMDD partner a narcissist, your PMDD brain uses that term very frequently. Because I remember the first time that I even said that about my PMDD partner, and I was like, where the heck did I get that term from? Like, I don't even talk like that. But the narcissist, I mean, all you have to do is say narcissist and you're going to start getting all of these things on Instagram that are going to be, there's a whole community of people that are fighting against actual narcissists. And so if you get these people on your side, they will convince you to not only break up, move all the way out, cut off communication. They will have you running for the hills from your PMDD partner as if they're this horrible monster, these narcissists. You know, it's you got to be real careful, because you got to ask yourself, is my PMDD partner really a narcissist, or is this my PMDD brain playing tricks on me? Because then you look kind of like silly, because then you get out of PMDD and you think that they're amazing again and you love them, and that whole community is still there. It's still there with you. Like, whoever you told that your partner was a narcissist, who are trying to protect you from him now at this point, or him or her, they're trying to protect you from your PMDD partner because you've told them that you are now dealing with the narcissist. And they're like, oh my goodness, don't fall for that. So your PMDD partner can be going into normal actions of just being loving, and they could be on the side. Don't fall for that. They're just saying that at any moment, they're going to go back to being a narcissist. And guess what? They do when you go back into PMDD. So what are the odds that your PMDD partner suddenly becomes a narcissist when you're in PMDD, but then their narcissism kind of goes away when you're out of PMDD? It's because they're not a narcissist. Okay. I would hold up a sign. I'm doing this on video too. They are not a narcissist. You have PMDD brain that is telling you that your partner is toxic. That's another word that comes out. I'm in a toxic relationship, because it sounds so convincing. It's like, wow, well, I mean, if you're in a toxic relationship, you need to get the heck up out of there. Like, run, like, don't, you don't deserve that. And all these things. You're not in a toxic relationship, right? Your partner's not a narcissist. I need you to rewire your brain and notice that the PMDD brain is trying to convince you of this. Okay. So I want you to feel safe again, because that's what we're talking about, feeling safe in the relationship. The way you can feel safe is when you're talking back to your PMDD brain and you're kind of working through it. You're kind of like, yeah, that isn't true. There's so many amazing qualities about my PMDD partner that I have amnesia. Like, I probably need some ginkgo biloba, because when I go into PMDD, I can't remember anything. You know how you already have forgetfulness with PMDD? Well, I definitely don't remember any of the amazing qualities that my PMDD partner has, because my PMDD brain is working on overload like a factory in my mind of telling me all the reasons why he's horrible, why he's toxic, why he's a narcissist, why I need to run. So I want you to, after you really talk back, you can start to negotiate and come to a compromise. And what I mean by compromise is, I'll tell you what I did for my long distance thing that my PMDD brain was trying to use. The way I negotiated was, I was like, you know what? I'm going to compromise with you. I'm going to admit that being in a long distance PMDD relationship is not easy. But I'm also going to let you know that it is what we decided that works best for us. And there are so many amazing things that we are building. The life that we actually want, we are building it right now by spending this time in this long distance relationship. And it's so fulfilling when I do spend time with my PMDD partner, because I miss them and I get to spend that amazing time with them. And so I'm beginning to note the positive qualities about being in this long distance relationship, which are the truth. They're true reasons as to why I'm even in this, because at any point, if I said, I don't want to do this anymore, we could just go and live together like we've done before. But we're doing this for a reason. But my PMDD brain is trying to convince me this is not the way normal relationships are. And you normally do. It doesn't matter. I am all about customizing your PMDD relationships to what works for you and what works for your PMDD partner. And my PMDD brain is trying to get me to force myself to put myself in a box of what my relationship is supposed to look like. And then I might get into that situation and not even like it. Like it not even benefit me, because I'm like, man, I'm not working on those goals that I was working on before. I'm not doing the things that I set out to do. Like there's a reason that we made this decision. So you have to like talk back to your PMDD brain, come up with those negotiations, come to that compromise. So if you feel like you are stuck in that cycle of listening to your PMDD brain and thinking that you should break up with your PMDD partner, I want you to really recognize, what I want you to get out of this episode is recognize that your PMDD brain is trying to convince you to break up, point blank, period. Stop questioning. I wonder if, there's no if, ands, or buts about it. It is 100% trying to convince you to break up with your PMDD partner. So it's important to know how to skillfully negotiate with your PMDD brain, because you may think the PMDD brain always wins. And guess what? That's true. When you go into PMDD, it always wins, but you can negotiate and compromise to get it on your side. Fighting with yourself while you're in PMDD is the biggest obstacle, because you feel like you don't have the energy. You're like fighting against your PMDD brain and you're fatigued. You're already tired. You're already going through all of these other symptoms. I'm going to give you tools on how to fight your PMDD brain this week on the PMDD Partners Breakup Proof Academy. I'm going to give you specific training on this, because I know that it comes up every single month in your PMDD relationship. There's going to be a workbook that goes along with it. So make sure that you join. I'm taking only a limited amount of PMDD partners, and I'm doing this because you get a free PMDD Partners introductory session with me. And what we do in that session is I get to know you, I get to know what's going on in your PMDD relationship, and I'm going to customize a lot of the tools that I put in the PMDD Partners Breakup Proof Academy to what you are specifically going through. So you can go listen to that training again and again and again, and it is going to specifically help you with your PMDD brain so that you can negotiate with your PMDD brain so that you don't break up, so that you're still with your PMDD partner, so that you don't deal with the guilt that comes after you've done these monthly breakups or even mention breaking up. I know for me, even the mention of breaking up, even if it doesn't happen, causes damage. Every single time, think about this. Every single time that you say that you want to break up with your PMDD partner, you're chipping away at it. You're chipping away at your PMDD relationship. You cannot keep doing this and expect that it's not going to cause damage to you. It's not going to cause damage to your PMDD partner, and it's not going to cause damage to your PMDD relationship. It is absolutely causing damage because it's causing you to not feel safe in your PMDD relationship. It's causing your PMDD partner to not feel safe. And when you don't have safety, that is all the more reason to break up. Your PMDD partner may even want to break up with you because they're not feeling safe. They're like, every single month, she's trying to break up with me. Like, I don't feel safe in this relationship. At any point, she could kick me out or she could leave me. And that puts them on high alert. And there's so much anxiety that comes along with that. So you have to break this pattern of the PMDD's monthly breakups. And the first step to doing that is to join the PMDD Partners Breakup Proof Academy. Go to the link in my bio. go to the show notes. It's going to be right there. Go to my website, www.inlovewithpmdd.com. Join so that you can get the tools and you will have direct access to me so that if something comes up and you're really trying to negotiate your PMDD brain, but it's almost winning, you have someone that can actually help you that knows exactly what you're going through, because I go through it every single month. So let's stop these monthly breakups. We got this. I hope this PMDD episode helped you and your partner in your struggles within your relationship. And if this is something that you know that you need help with and you need further support, individualized support, make sure you're going to inlovewithpmdd.com and you're getting those private sessions to really work through what you're going through in your relationship, specifically in regards to PMDD. And also, I want you to leave a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. What this does is it helps other PMDD sufferers and partners find this show that can help them get these free PMDD relationship tools. I remember what it felt like to not know that there were tools out there specifically for PMDD relationships. So I want to make sure that you are sharing these tools with others, share them on your social media, share them with people that you know that are also struggling in their PMDD relationships. Until next episode, this is Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist. One more thing, I almost forgot. I now have the Fresh Start PMDD Partners Workbook. What this workbook can do is if you've had past traumatic experiences with your partner, past fights, past arguments, and they keep coming up every single month in PMDD, I created a Fresh Start Workbook so that you can deal with all of the traumatic experiences that have happened in the past in PMDD rage and all of these things so you can stop going through the same cycle again and again and again. So get that workbook. It comes with a video episode of the actual podcast that I recorded on getting a fresh start in your PMDD relationship. So you're not continuing the same cycle again and again and again. So make sure that you get that workbook. And if you need those individualized counseling sessions, you know where to go, inlovewithpmdd.com. Until next time, we got this. Love you.